Welcome to The Explainer. So jump right in with me. Picture June 16th, 2013. The mountainous region of Uttarakhand is about to witness an absolutely unimaginable tragedy. Today, we're unpacking the 2013 Kedarnath disaster, and we're going to look at how a massive natural catastrophe, ambitious modern infrastructure, and deeply rooted local beliefs literally all collided on the exact same day.
Now, the big question we're looking at today, and one that honestly still echoes through the Himalayas, is this. Was the highly controversial removal of an ancient idol, the protector goddess Dhari Devi, somehow connected to the devastating floods that started just hours later? Well, to really grasp how powerful this narrative is, we have to first look at the sheer, terrifying magnitude of what actually went down.
300,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering number of pilgrims and tourists who were suddenly left completely stranded across various valleys when the disaster struck. The official death toll recorded by the government stood at 654, though the sheer force of the devastation swept away entire communities, completely cutting off over 20,000 villages from the outside world. It became, without a doubt, one of the worst natural disasters in India's modern history. But what was the catalyst for the events leading up to that day?
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the relocation conflict, energy versus heritage.
So the whole thing kind of kicks off with the 330-megawatt Srinath hydroelectric project, which was proposed back in 2006 on the Alaknanda River. The core issue here was that the dam's reservoir was projected to completely submerge the very rock where the Dhari Devi temple had sat for over 500 years. The project authorities decided, well, the idol needed to be relocated to a higher, safer platform, but the locals, they strongly disagreed. A women's organization called the Dhari Seva Samiti launched this massive protest that lasted an incredible 1,100 days. The battle went all the way to the Uttarakhand High Court and eventually the Supreme Court. Even the Union Environment Ministry actually advocated for keeping the temple exactly where it was.
And guys, the tension here reached an absolute boiling point. To give you an idea of how seriously this was taken, prominent politicians and religious leaders issued some seriously stark warnings. BJP leader Uma Bharti famously laid it on the line, stating, "If the temple is touched, I will take Jal Samadhi," referring to a literal water burial. So we're looking at a situation where the political, social, and religious stakes were just incredibly high. Locals firmly believed Dhari Devi was the ultimate protector of the Char Dham, the 4 sacred pilgrimage sites, and that moving her would basically be an open invitation to catastrophe.
Which brings us to part 2, timeline of destruction, a ticking clock. All right, let's look at how this actually played out. It's the evening of June 16th, and facing severe heavy rain warnings, the temple committee finally allowed the idol to be moved. By 6:30 p.m., priests and locals physically lifted the idol from its original rock, and witnesses reported sudden lightning, thunder, and torrential rain the exact moment she was moved. Exactly 1 hour later, at 7:30 p.m., the first massive cloudburst hit the Kedarnath region. The next morning, at 6:15 a.m., the Chorabari Lake Dam burst, and by 7 a.m., a catastrophic mix of water, boulders, and debris just wiped out the entire Kedarnath settlement. Now, it's definitely worth noting that locals allege the project company had actually released water from their tunnels to artificially raise river levels, effectively forcing the emergency relocation. Whether that's true or not, you can see why that timeline etched itself into the local consciousness forever.
So the crucial point here is understanding the actual physical reality of what was happening up in the mountains. Glaciologist Dr. D.P. Dabal provided the hard scientific data. Because of the relentless rains, the water level in Chorabari Lake was already 7 meters above normal. Then a massive avalanche crashed right into the lake. The pressure was so intense that the moraine dam simply ruptured, and the entire lake emptied in just 5 to 10 minutes. That sent 262 million liters of water crashing down into the Mandakini River in a single pulse. It's a stark reminder of the immense, truly unstoppable forces of natural glaciological events, which operate completely independently of human beliefs.
This brings us to Section 3, Echoes of the Past, Historical Parallels.
Now look at this incredibly eerie historical parallel. Back in 1882, a local king reportedly attempted to relocate the Dhari Devi temple, and local accounts state that immediately following that attempt, a massive landslide struck the Kedarnath region. Fast forward to 2013, the government successfully relocates the idol, and devastating floods wipe out the very same region. For the locals, this wasn't just some random coincidence, it was a confirmed pattern. The belief is that moving the protector of the land simply invites the wrath of nature.
And this whole narrative, it's really fueled by some pretty alarming climate predictions. The source material highlights a stark projection for September 16, 2025. predicting a massive cloudburst in Dehradun that could completely submerge the religious Tapkeshwar Mahadev temple. Alongside other severe weather events at religious sites in Uttarkashi and Chamoli, these incidents are constantly interpreted through this lens of nature symbolically pushing back against human interference.
Now, what's really interesting is Section 4, the mythological origins of 5,000-year-old tale. According to the temple's chief priest, we aren't just talking about a 500-year-old site here. It's actually believed to date back to the Dwapar Yug, an era in Hindu mythology that's over 5,000 years ago. Legend has it that the Pandavas, the central figures of the epic Mahabharata, worshipped at this exact spot during their 13-year exile in the Himalayas. This establishes the site not just as an old temple, but as a truly ancient anchor of faith.
But the story of the goddess herself? It is incredibly dark and really dramatic. Local lore states that Dhari was the only sister of 7 brothers. Orphaned at age 7, she loved her brothers deeply, but they absolutely despised her. Astrologers labeled her a dark omen. After 5 of the brothers died under tragic circumstances, the remaining 2 panicked. So, on a dark new moon night, they betrayed her, severed her head, and threw her into the Alaknanda River. The head of this 13-year-old innocent girl floated downstream until it finally reached a rock near Kalyasur.
So down at that rock, a local guy washing clothes actually spots the floating head in the turbulent waters. Terrified of the rapid current, he hesitated. According to the myth, a divine voice suddenly called out to him, saying, "Do not panic. Save me, and I give you my word, wherever you step, I will build stairs." Miraculously, as he stepped into the rushing river, stairs actually formed beneath his feet, allowing him to retrieve the severed head and establish the shrine.
Because of how this whole story unfolds, it actually resulted in an extremely rare system of bipartite worship. The upper body, the head, is worshipped at the Dhari Devi temple. Meanwhile, the lower half of the body, which supposedly continued floating down the river, is worshipped at Kalimath, known as Ma Mekhani. It's just a fascinating division of geography and faith, bound together by one simple river.
Which brings us to our final mystery. Section 5, the form-changing mystery, miracle or science? Okay, get this. The physical idol is widely reported to actually change her appearance 3 times a day. In the morning, devotees see the face of an innocent young girl. By the afternoon, the features appear to shift into those of a youthful woman. And as night falls, the idol takes on the visage of an elderly woman. This isn't viewed simply as magic by everyone, but rather as something that demands a much deeper explanation.
And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute genius of ancient Indian craftsmanship. Many experts believe that this form-changing mystery isn't supernatural at all, but rather a testament to profound scientific knowledge. These master craftsmen likely possessed a deep understanding of natural light and shadow, using highly advanced geometric angles when carving the stone. As the sun moves across the sky, the shifting light interacts with the precise cuts of the idol, literally manipulating human perception. It's an incredible example of blending pure science with spiritual devotion, creating an experience that feels truly divine.
So as we wrap up this explainer, we're really left looking at the intersection of these 2 entirely different worlds. On one hand, you have the raw glaciological data, the avalanches, and the undeniable impacts of massive infrastructure projects in fragile ecosystems. And on the other hand, you have a 5,000-year-old belief system, stunning ancient craftsmanship, and a frankly eerie timeline that perfectly aligns with a devastating tragedy. So what does this all mean? Does the truth of Kedarnath lie in an ancient curse, or in the fragile, dangerous balance between modern development and devastating natural forces? Whatever you believe, the story of Dhari Devi is a powerful reminder of how deeply human faith is tied to the natural world. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep questioning the world around you.